Hi guys, it's Phil here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was outside and then the Wi-Fi disappeared. So I'm back inside. If you want to look around my room and see what's here, you can have a quick poke around. There's a bookcase full of books that don't get read, a million guitars. But today we're not talking about guitars or books. We're talking about, look at this, is high tech. Others, dealing with others. And I said on the promo, dealing with others is a major issue. So much of our problems come from the fact, says my connection's weak, I'm right near the router. Um, so many of our problems in life come from the most complicated thing in the world, which is dealing with other people. Let me try and move even closer to the source of the internet and see if that helps. It's again 2016, the internet not working very well. So welcome. We're going to be looking at others. Oh, little dog's just wandered in as well. Say hello, little dog. Just come to check it out. Yeah. Dealing with others. Now, it's such a common problem. I thought it would be worth talking about. Hi, Belinda. Hi, Carol. Hi, Alice. Lovely to see you guys. And to those of you watching on catch up on the feed. What I want to do today is talk about some of the core problems when dealing with other people, and particularly another high-tech sign, guilt. Guilt, major thing. And the reason I want to talk about it today, it's one of those kind of happenstances that saw some clients today who all had problems with dealing with others. And one of the core things was guilt. So let's look at this. Why do people feel guilty? Well, we're trained to do it. We're told that it's a reasonable thing to do. But actually, it's not. It's not useful at all. That's the first thing to remember. And the reason, if you think back, why people get taught about guilt, there is a purpose behind it. And the purpose behind it is to not do something bad or wrong that society considers isn't good. But that's the message. Don't do it. And if you do it, don't do it again. It shouldn't be feel dreadful about it. That's really not valuable. Because if all you do is feel dreadful about it, and do it again, then you haven't really learnt the lesson. So guilt is usually a massively wasted emotion. It doesn't have any purpose. Stopping doing a particular behaviour is good, but feeling guilty about it doesn't help. And very often we feel guilty about stuff we really shouldn't feel guilty about. We feel guilty about what we should have done, what we shouldn't have done, what other people think we should have done, things they think we should have done but they never told us, so things we're completely unaware of. And we develop a range of magical ways of feeling bad about ourselves by feeling or doing guilt. So the first thing to do is stop doing it. When you recognize you have it, then really check it out and kind of ask yourself, is this of any value? And what's interesting with guilt, it's not of any value to you, but it's equally not of any value to the person that you feel guilty for having transgressed in some way. It doesn't make any difference. All they want you to do is to not do whatever you were doing. So today I was talking to somebody, and the guilt was about having made some decisions that other people didn't like. So this could be deciding to leave a relationship, or it could be deciding, actually, I don't like that. The thing that you're doing, I don't like. You know, I don't want to watch that TV program. I don't want to play that sport with you because I don't want to do it. And then that other person not being happy that you haven't joined in. Sometimes it's even more complicated than that. They're fine with it, but you feel guilty that you should have joined in. So it can be completely internally generated. But quite often there is some play from the other person in the relationship where they kind of suggest that in some way this is a wrong decision. And as I've said on previous seminars, avoiding being wrong is something we will spend so much time trying to do. So if you find that you're running guilt, doing guilt, thinking guilty feelings about yourself, the first thing is stop. The second thing, the easiest way to explain this, is cleaning windows. And if you've been onto my Facebook feed, you may have seen an infographic about this. If you clean windows, there's a big problem. The problem with cleaning windows is that always ends up with smears. And the big problem with smears is when you rub them off, you find that you're often rubbing the wrong side of the glass. The smear's on the other side. But when you go around to the other side of the glass, the smear's on that seems to be on the opposite side again. So you can't get rid of the smears. And the solution is actually what you do when you clean the inside of the glass, you clean it this way. And when you clean the outside of the glass, you clean it this way. Then you can see what side the smears are on. Now you may say, Phil, why are you talking about cleaning windows? Well, one of the most important things you've got to do when you're looking at guilt is to work out whose problem is this? Is it yours? Is it theirs? And anything that's yours, then you should sort. So if you're feeling bad about something, you should change that. But if it's them trying to make you do something and you don't want to do it, that's actually their problem. That's not your problem. They're not happy because you're not joining in. But you've just expressed, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be part of that. And that's completely fine. If you then feel a bit guilty about, I should have joined in, again, that's yours to deal with. So there can be both sides involved. But don't try and take responsibility for things that you can't possibly change. So a classic one, which goes hand in hand with perfection, is trying to make everybody happy. You're never going to do that. You're never going to achieve that. If you feel bad because some people aren't happy, that's fine. It's not your responsibility. Ideally, everybody in the world would be happy, but it's probably not going to happen. And certainly, it's not your job to do that. So if you run guilt about these kind of things, first step is to notice this is occurring. Second thing is to take a position where you realize how much of this is yours and how much of it is someone putting it onto you, and then of course you running with it, you taking it, and then decide to separate yourself from it. One of the easiest ways to do this is to take yourself distant. So imagine that you're looking at yourself. So you're kind of here looking at yourself. So instead of me being me, I'm looking at myself from a distance and kind of going, okay, well, what does this look like? If I was helping someone else with this, what would I suggest they do? Getting that perspective, taking that step back, being able to put it into a different kind of way of thinking will allow you to work out, okay, is this reasonable? And here's a clue, guilt is never reasonable, it's never useful. There may be things you need to change, you need to do things differently, but never feel guilty about it. Instead, recognize either you did something you didn't intend, there was an unintended slight on your part and you need to sort it, or somebody is trying to push you and manipulate you into do things you don't want to do. And in that case, it's standing your ground, getting in touch with your confidence. Interestingly, guilt and confidence are very oppositional, in that if you're someone who's confident about yourself, you don't feel guilty. Because if you've made a choice, you say, I don't want to do this, you're fine with it. And you don't really care what other people think. Obviously, that's different from complete arrogance and not caring about anybody. So there's variations in this. And one of the other seminars I'll be running on Facebook Live is we'll be looking at how you deal with other people, and particularly how do you deal with other people's opinions. Other people's opinions are something that we constantly crave. We want people to like us. But actually, again, that's one of those things that we can't possibly deliver on, we can't control. So we have to learn, how do we feel okay with ourselves, even if not everybody feels okay? And that's something I'll be covering on the next time. So if you have any questions, we're about to finish in a minute, but if you have any questions, if you pop them down at the bottom, or if you like this or share that, that would be cool as well, if you think somebody might be interested. But if you have any questions about this guilt, if you pop them up now, I'll be able to answer them. If you pop them up later, so if you're watching this on catch up, or you just had a thought, you think, oh, I'd like to ask this, pop it down, visit here or visit the page, and I'll see that question and I'll include it in the next the live questions and answers that we'll do on Facebook. So I hope you found this useful, this brief 8 minutes 38 of guilt and looking at others, and I'll be covering some other stuff about relationships, because they are such a cause of stuff in our lives, and pretty much everyone has them, whether they're intimate personal relationships or just relationships with other people. So join me next time. I hope you enjoyed this. Like the page, give us a comment, any questions, it'd be lovely to hear from you, and I'll speak to you guys soon. You take care now. Bye.